Thank you. Thank you first to the Alaska Women's Hall of Fame. I know it is a huge task to select a group of women to be inducted each year. I am truly honored to join our other nominees tonight and the women I read about on your website. This website is incredible. It's a collection of Alaska history that was very fun to read. I want to thank each of the 17 colleagues and friends who secretly came together to submit this nomination. Each of them have been someone I've admired and learned from. I've been so fortunate to be surrounded by people like them who are supportive of me taking risks, having big ideas, and all of us working for ways to make this a better place. I came to Alaska in 1980 with a backpack on the ferry. I stopped at every town on the way, explored for a couple of days, and then hopped back on the ferry. What a wonderful, adventurous way to enter Alaska. I didn't know anyone here. I called a friend of a friend who made me feel incredibly welcome. I stood in line at payphones in Denali Park and on the dock in Seward to call and see if I would be offered a teaching job anywhere I had applied and interviewed. When I learned I had a teaching job in Matsu, my plan was to stay for a year. And like many of us who came to Alaska with that idea, I stayed and stayed. People back in Wisconsin asked why, and the answer was simple. The people here, the opportunities here, and it is the most beautiful place to live. As a young child growing up in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin, I learned from my parents to pay attention to what's happening in my community and to see what I can do to make it a better place. It doesn't need to be complicated or big, but just a way to join with others for the benefit of community. Living in Wasilla was different in the early 80s. The only traffic symbol was a blinking red light on the park's highway. There were mostly gravel roads, and the borough population was under 20,000 people. Today, there are over 100,000 people here and almost 20,000 students in the Matsu School District. So there were unending opportunities to join in and work within our community. A couple examples were there was no summer camp for kids with disabilities. So a group of us got together and said, let's start one. Hatcher Pass was undergoing a state management plan. How could we skiers have a voice? Let's start a nonprofit Hatcher Pass Outdoors Club so we can have an effective voice. Special Olympics, let's grow a program where we have volunteers asking to be involved and parents can drop off their kids and young adults knowing they would be safe and have fun. Let's make this organization where the volunteers also have fun. A vacant, huge gravel area in downtown Wasilla, once the airport moved to a new location, a number of people got together to create an anchor for the future of a large multi-purpose recreation area and build a playground. As we said in 1996, we are not building a playground, we are building community. An earthquake is keeping middle school students out of their building and away from the belongings that were in their lockers. Let's gather up coats, shoes, and school supplies and give them to every student. I was fortunate because I always knew I wanted to be a teacher. I taught swimming all through high school and college and then became a teacher in 1976, right when the federal law took effect stating that all children with disabilities had a place in our nation's public schools. This was groundbreaking at the time, and it was the perfect time to enter the profession of special education. We teachers had to be advocates for our students, and Alaska was the perfect place to do this. Building an inclusive program here was welcomed and encouraged, unlike other areas in the country that had long-standing practices of how to serve students with special needs. I'm proud that in my 43 years in education, 20 of them were in the classroom directly teaching students. The other years were in leadership positions where I could support those directly working with students. And so this love of teaching morphed into guiding and mentoring as my career path changed. I got to see others I worked with recognized for statewide Inclusive Practices Award, see specific schools recognized at the state and national level for academic achievement for their students with disabilities. I saw high school students pursuing careers in special education because of their school experiences and saw beginning teachers become master teachers. As people continued to move to the Matsu area, our school community grew and grew more complex. New children needed new programs, new teachers needed mentoring, new families wanted to have a voice. So we created Project Search, ABA programs, the Matsu Day School, teacher mentor programs, and a parent resource center. We also worked to have a voice where educational decisions were made in Juneau and even in Washington, D.C. We were in classrooms and schools every day, and we had valuable input. Thank you to all the people I've worked with in this wonderful career, including the many partner organizations like Head Start, Matsu Services for Children and Adults, state agencies, and many direct care and mental health providers that worked with our students. Every single accomplishment that I can think of without exception involved a group of committed people. My favorite work is on any team where members are valued, energized, and productive. And I've been fortunate to be a part of amazing teams in Alaska.